Hello and welcome to Jennifer Knatters. My name is Jennifer and this is my knitting and nattering video podcast. This is not a regular episode. I don't really have anything specific to talk about today, but it is Thursday, the 5th of November. It is 2 days after the US election, and it's kind of I just feel like I want some comfort in my life, want to chat with some friends, want to have nice distracting things that don't require any real thinking or brain power or anything. So I thought I would just say hi and let you all know how I'm doing, and hopefully you can let me know how you're doing and we can get through this slightly more anxious than usual time. Here in the UK, England has gone back into a lockdown. I think that just started, and Scotland rolled out a tier system. I can't remember if that was last week or this week. Rolled out a tier system, and here in Inverness we are the lowest tier. Well, not the lowest tier. We're tier 1, which is the lowest level of lockdown-ish stuff. Although really, it's this week. One of the other mums pointed out it's really level 1.5, because we're still not allowed to meet with other people inside our houses, which is not a standard part of the tier description. And then the other new thing is that we have to wear face masks when picking up and dropping off children at school. So that's the only new stuff for us here in Inverness. But it's just, everything's kind of quieter. All the marketing I get is, we're in lockdown now, so the stores aren't open, so please order online if you want to order things. And I'm like, well, Inverness isn't in lockdown. Is your Inverness shop in lockdown? Not that I'm going to go anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but it's all so England-centric. But yeah, that's where we are. The US election is obviously the US election. As of recording this, they still have not announced even a likely winner. It is still a nail biter. I feel slightly optimistic and a lot afraid to feel slightly optimistic. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I am an American. I'm from California and I live in northern Scotland. So, yeah, I don't think most Americans living in the US realize why US elections are such a big deal all over the world. And the US really just, what the US does, the US is so big and so powerful and so meddlesome that it matters to the whole world. It will affect everyone in the world what kind of government the US has. So yeah, it's pretty tense everywhere. Just kind of waiting. It's the tension of waiting is really what it is. It's not like the whole lockdown has just been anxiety making, and the last 4 years have been anxiety making. One of my friends on Twitter reposted something another friend of theirs had said several years ago about how they basically just wake up every morning and scream into a pillow. And I was like, 2 years ago? What did you have to worry about 2 years ago? And then I started remembering all the stuff that we had to worry about 2 years ago. And it's the last 4 years, and it started before Trump was even elected the first time, because here in the UK there was Brexit, and like 9 months before that had been the Scottish referendum, and like the last 4 years have just been so terrible, and one thing after another. And right now obviously is like the pandemic is the icing on the cake of terribleness. That it's hard to keep in, like, it's hard to remember all the things that have gone so horribly wrong in the last 4 years. And just the number of people who have embraced this is heartbreaking. And I mean, it's not surprising, but it's disappointing. And even if, cross your fingers, Biden wins, Biden and Harris, there's still a lot awful, not just in the US. So yeah, this is like a rock on a precipice, and you're just holding your breath, waiting to see which way will it fall or will it roll back down. And until it does, I'm just, my ears up around, or my shoulders up around my ears. You don't really want, this isn't gonna help. Anyway, that's where I am and how I'm feeling. And if that's where you are and that's how you're feeling, then at least we're in it together. Things that are making me happy right now, which again, everything kind of feels wrapped in wool, and not in the happy literal knitting way, but just like muffled. The sun's out today, which is really nice. We had really bad storms over the weekend. I guess everywhere in the UK did. We got 2 ex-hurricanes through, or an ex-hurricane and a big storm, and even Halloween was canceled because of the pandemic. But even if it hadn't been, I can't imagine we actually would have gone out guysing, because there were huge gusts of wind and lots of rain off and on, really heavy rain. It was just really, it was a day for staying inside, curled up in a blanket and drinking hot chocolate by the fire. We do not have a fire, and I have small children, so curling up by the fire with a thing of hot chocolate is not really something I can do anyway, but it definitely felt like that would have been the perfect way to handle it. But 4 of our neighbors made a special point of giving my children candy. They coming, one stopped us when we were walking home from school, I think it was on Thursday, to give us a bag of candy because they knew our kids wouldn't be able to come. I think I have a cat on the other side of the door. And then 3 neighbors stopped by on the day to give my kids bags of candy so that they could still have a nice Halloween. Let me just pause this and see if I'm getting a cat. I've opened the door, and there was a cat on the other side. Oh, she has come in. Come on. This is Libby. You saying hi? Do you want to come over here so they can see you? Not really, no. But yeah, 4 neighbors made a point of coming to us to give my children candy to make sure they still got a nice Halloween. Ooh, we've got some ears. Boop, 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 boop. Say hi, pretty girl. This is Libby. She loves my husband the most, but she has, since lockdown started, become remarkably more affectionate with both me and I've got a cattail. My little cat mustache. Now I'm going to be sneezing because I've got cat fur up my nose. Cats are definitely on the list of things that make us happy. We have delightful cats who are very affectionate and very much want to come for cuddles. So yeah, Halloween, I mean, we didn't get to go trick-or-treating, but it was still a nice day. Although I made costumes for my kids, and neither of them wanted me to make the costumes. They said they wanted to make costumes. They actually dressed up as my younger child, my 3-year-old, dressed up as Libby, and my 7-year-old dressed up as our larger ginger kitty, Oliver. So I made them each a cat costume. I ordered tracksuits. I got a gray tracksuit and an orange tracksuit, and then we do stripes on them, and they had cat ears, and we had tails, so they could each be the cat. and they were both very excited about this. And when we'd drawn the stripes on, they both immediately put them on and ran around in them and pretended to be cats. And then they both were like, no, I'm Halloween. Why would I wear this for Halloween? So that was a lot of money for 10 minutes of entertainment. But I got them both large outfits, so they should be able to wear the pieces or put it together as cat costumes just for regular running around and playing with. So that was Halloween, and at school we have to wear the face masks. Have I read or watched anything? I've been watching Strictly Come Dancing, and I'm watching all of last year. Though these last couple of days I can't really relax into Strictly Come Dancing. I'm loving watching it. I'm loving it. And it's, I used to dance socially, not competitively, there are things you do in competitive dancing when they talk about like how difficult it is to do the Viennese waltz and how they have to maintain the V. The V is because one person stands here and then the other person stands here. So they're forming a V. So you're leaning away from each other when you're spinning, whereas in non-competitive dancing, you stand like two halves of a circle, and then when you spin, the centrifugal force helps you spin. So there's lots of things that aren't the way you would ever do them just in social dance. Competitive dance is very different. It's very specific skills, and it is specifically designed to be difficult so that you can score the difficulty. But I've really enjoyed watching it, and I've kind of been like, wiggling around the house and stuff. But I can't relax into it right now with everything being so tense. But yeah, I watched Coco for Dia de Muertos. That is one of my watch every year at a specific time movies. And I read the Brigadoon books, which are the ones that are being turned into the Netflix miniseries. I read the first two because I don't want to be spending a lot of money on books right now. One of my friends online had said that, she'd read them ages ago and she remembered enjoying them but couldn't remember anything that happened. And even just like 2 weeks after I finished them, I felt the same way, like they were enjoyable, and I can't, like if I concentrate, I can pull out specific details. I remember really enjoying them, but not specifically what happened or even anyone's name or anything like that. So if you are looking for fluffy reading, those are fluffy and nice. They haven't entirely aged well. The books are like 15 years old, so there are certainly things that I wouldn't expect in a book that was a romance novel that was being published today. But yeah, they're fun. And there was a new Penrick's Travels book, which is Lois McMaster Bujold's Five Gods series, the Curse of the Shallian and Paladin of Souls. It's set at a very different time in history, and they follow a young man who gets sorry, I'm having trouble braining right now. Anyway, in the world of the five gods, you can either be a saint, who is someone who lets the gods work through them, or the other way you can kind of have special powers is if you are a sorcerer, which is someone who has a demon living inside of them. And if the demon's in charge, then that's bad. But if the person's in charge, then that's theologically, that's the word, not theoretically, theologically fine. So it's about this, it starts off with a young boy who's on his way to a marriage that, he's a younger son in a noble family, and he's being married off to a wealthy cheese merchant's daughter. But on the way to the wedding, they come across a sorceress, a church sorceress, who is being returned to the church so that her demon can be passed on to the person of the church's choosing, but instead she dies on the way, and he winds up with this demon who now has the personality of, I think it's 7 women who have been the previous writers, the previous people who had this demon, plus a bird, a lion, and a horse, and all of them have been women, or female in the horse's case, the bird, the horse, and the lioness. So now he has like the voices of all these women in his head, and it's really cute and charming, and I like them. They're novellas, they're not too long, and they're all just the kind of things that make you feel warm and fuzzy. One thing, they're not necessarily written in chronological order. Sometimes she goes back and inserts a book in an earlier, or a novella in an earlier time. So the one that just came out does go back and fit in at an earlier time, but they're cute. And he names the demon Desdemona, and the demon's never had a name before, so she's quite happy to have the name. But yeah, I read that one, and I think after that I was kind of just on a book slump. So that's kind of me and what I'm doing. Cattail, whoosh. And I'm wearing a shawl. I don't wear shawls a lot, but today definitely felt like I needed to wrap beautiful wool around my neck. I can't take it off because not only do I have a shawl pin in it, but I accidentally put it through the jumper I'm wearing under it. But it is a pattern designed by Robin Weldon, I think is how Weldon. I don't know how to say her name. And it is knit. This was one I bought ready-made, actually. It was knit by, it's the Knitting Goddess yarn, and I believe Joy knit it as a shop sample last year this time-ish. They did a shop sample sale, and I think this is the Masham yarn that they do. And yeah, I actually got the shop sample for less than it would cost to buy the yarn already knit up. So it's just a nice thing to have. Yeah, so I'm wrapped in wool, and now I have a cat in my lap, and I hope you're doing all right. I hope that this goes the way I want it to, and I will join you later for a proper podcast. But I just wanted to reach out and say I'm still here, and I know you're still there, and we have each other, even if for me it's just me talking to the internet, to myself. I hope there's some comfort in this for you, and it's been comforting for me. So yeah, I will, fingers crossed it goes all right, and I will talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.